Hi, welcome to the January 27th, 2026 meeting. It's our workshop this evening. In case of emergency, please use the door that says emergency exit only, or use the staircase behind the elevator. Never use an elevator if there is a possible fire in a building. So please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. So this evening, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about our pavilion and possibly some other infrastructure issues. Is the other company going to be?
Chris Schaefer is on Zoom.
Chris is on Zoom?
He's the engineer.
Okay, let's bring him in now. And George is here with us, our engineer, George Palmer, who's been our engineer for how many years now, George?
Oh, 34?
Well, who's counting?
Oh, who's counting?
Yeah.
34, yeah.
So Chris, why don't you introduce yourself to the man, to the public, a little bit of your background, and then get into the what your results were from your review of the pavilion.
Sure. Yes, good evening. Thanks for having me on here. My name is Chris Shaver with CT Mal Associates. Oh,
Excuse me, could you just speak up a little or turn the volume up a little, please?
Yes, sorry. I don't.
Maybe it's on our end, I don't know.
How's that? Is that any better?
Hold on one sec. Marcus is doing something. Tuning it up.
Go ahead, try again.
How's that? Is that better?
No, not much.
No, not much. All right, I'm going to turn my volume up. Is that any better?
Not really.
No? How's that? Any better?
Going up, yeah. Or you're.
That's all the, that's,
Yeah, okay.
that's
all
as,
right.
that, sorry, that's as loud as it gets. I'll put the
Okay,
microphone to
all
my face here. Yes, sir, I'm not very loud. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Yeah, my name is Chris Shaver, structural engineer with CT Mal Associates. I've been at CT Mal for over 25 years, been a structural engineer for over 36 years, and my area of expertise is evaluation designs of excuse me, buildings, structures such as the pavilion you have. So we were hired last year to take a look at the pavilion. First, we started with the roof deck and the purlins. Based on their condition, we recommended that they be replaced. And then because of the requirements for the new code, that replacing the roof and purlins, the existing frames had to be analyzed to withstand the new loads of the current now. It just took an effect in December 31st of last year, new codes which were significantly higher than they were in previous codes. So if you've had a chance to read our report, we did a few different analysis on the frames. So first we came down there, took measurements, modeled the main frames, the bent frames of the pavilion. They're every 25 feet on center. Modeled those, not knowing the design loads for the pavilion, but knowing it was constructed sometime in the late 1970s. Our first analysis was based on the building code that was in effect at that time that had a design snow load for your area of 30 pounds per square foot. We ran the model, and summary, it was significantly overstressed. I believe it was around 74, 75% in bending, 100% in shear. Then our next analysis, we checked the national design standards for building loads, the ANSI 58.1, which is now currently the ASC 7. It's just a national design standard that gives all sorts of design loads that's generally referenced by the New York State Building Code and the International Building Code. That one had a design load based on the maps in there of somewhere around, I believe it was around 20 pounds per square foot on the flatter roof portion Again, in both cases, the sides, the sloped portion of the roof, where the snow loads were reduced accordingly. That one, I believe, was also overstressed, somewhere around 33% in bending, and they were around 48%. I don't have the report open in front of me right now, but again, significantly overstressed. So we weren't sure what it was designed for. So we said, right, well, let's just jump to the chase and analyze what the snow load would be today and what would the stresses be. Current snow load for your area, based on the new building code, are 45 pounds per square foot, much more than they were in the 70s, 30 pounds per square foot, about a 50% increase. But because of the different design methodologies that we use today, the LRFD or load and resistance factor design that are less conservative than the allowable stress design ASD from the 1970s, we ended up with about the same amount of overstress, the 75% and 100% from bending and in shear. So the next step, we said, well, that doesn't work. So what other options might there be? What if we increase the slope on the roof to get some sliding or shedding of snow so that it wouldn't collect? We modeled the continuing the side slope of about 30 degrees, modeling that up to the peak, so it'd be more like a traditional gable roof. And that one didn't work either. I forget exactly what the numbers were. Bear with me 1 second. I do have it open. I think we had 33% in bending, 48% in shear. Still not acceptable. And that modification would also increase the building height by approximately 16 feet to a total roof height of approximately 44 feet, which higher roof means higher wind loads also. And additional structure, weight to the structure for increasing that slope, which was not included in our analysis. So it would be even more percent overstress. We looked at, the last option we looked at was what slope would it take to make it work. And we came up with approximately 48 degrees, which is a very steep roof. Steeper than a 12 on 12, one-on-one pitch that you might see on a residence. That would increase, that would make the stresses work, but it would increase the building height by approximately 36 feet more than what's out there now. Total roof height of 64 feet, which really seems impractical. And also, again, it would increase the wind loads to the structure, which would further create additional problems. Our analysis assumed 36,000 psi steel, which was common in the 70s and even up to the 90s as well. It was only later in the 90s that they started using higher strength steel, more commonly 50 ksi, but most likely it was not used back in the 70s for a pre-engineered metal building such as these. Trying to think what else I was going to had another thought and I lost it for a second, but the pre-engineered metal buildings are difficult to analyze because they're not designed like conventional steel structures. A certain manufacturer will design according to their own standards. They're tapered shapes, they're special shapes, they're not easy to analyze, and they're usually designed very, very close to the minimum design loads. After we issued this report, we did run a couple different analysis after talking with George that aren't in this report, but I just wanted to touch on them. We explored, well, what if the steel was higher strength, 50 ksi steel, which we thought was very unlikely. We did run that analysis, and it wouldn't compute because there was a slenderness ratio. Basically, with a higher strength, I don't want to bore you all with the technical details, but it's because of the shapes and the higher stress, it's just not it won't calculate the stresses of overstresses. The computer program just pretty much rejects it. We also checked it to say, well, what if we had zero load on it, just the dead load of the roof and the deck, around 5 pounds per square foot. And of course, it did work with that. And we also checked what could it have been designed for, what was the minimum load. And we found that 12 pounds per square foot seemed to be the minimum load or the maximum load that it would work for, which equated to a minimum roof live load that's used for design of structures in places where there would be no snow. If you had no snow, say it was Florida or, Alabama, where you potentially had no snow, you would still have to design a roof structure for minimum roof snow load, which is, for a small roof, is 20 pounds per square foot, but it gets reduced based on basically the size of the roof, which equates to about 12 pounds per square foot. So unfortunately, we don't have great news for making this work on paper. It's not to say that it wasn't designed to code. We don't know how it was designed. I don't want to point fingers, but based on our analysis, we can't prove that it was designed to code or what it was designed to. So that's the recommendation that we had on this, that we can't say that it meets code and is designed to the proper loads as it should have been when it was designed or as it would be today. I'll take a breath and let you.
The biggest question is, for everyone, is the structure stable now? Not even including the snow load. Like, so if we get into the spring, there's no snow, or summer, is the structure stable as it is now?
Well, for its correct, good point. With no snow, obviously heavy snow is a risk. With no snow, it lessens the risk. You don't have people on the roof, so there's no live load. But there's wind loads also. There could be, and that was the other thing. We didn't analyze wind loads. We didn't analyze the foundations. We only took it to that first level of analyzing the frames. If there is a high wind event, we don't know what the structure is capable of handling. And as far as the purlins itself, we did find that there were some repairs done a few years ago where there was corroded purlins in the roof. But we also noticed that there were other purlins that weren't repaired that are corroding right now. So our risk factor was, we don't want something falling on somebody. Could be, a freak accident, small percentage, but it's just not percentage risk that we would feel comfortable in taking or having you take. As far as
You're saying that we shouldn't be using the pavilion.
that's the bottom line for safety reasons. Is it stable or is it not stable? That's a tough question. I don't see it as a risk of imminent failure, but for safety reasons, because there's so much we don't know, we wouldn't recommend that you use it.
And are any of the steel frames bent?
Oh, like twisted?
Yeah, or just out of shape, or?
We did not see that. We did not see that.
So Chris, you're basing all this, this is pretty much an assumption, sounds like to me. You have not had any physical contact or just pictures from the roof? Were you able to do any kind of integrity test on the steel?
We have not done that yet. We did discuss it, say Marcus and George and I discussed that possibility. At this point, we have not done it yet. That would only confirm the strength of steel.
And you don't really know, so you're not familiar with the original design, right? I mean, is there
No.
drawings of the original design? So you're not even familiar, so you're just assuming that the original design was designed to meet the code at that time.
Yes, we're assuming it, and that's a pretty standard assumption. That's definitely for me, and especially with these types of buildings. I've seen a lot of these buildings and seen the calculations and the drawings, and they're designed cost effective, if for lack of a better word. Yeah, right at 100%, and I've seen them, even the calculations show that it's 101%, 102%. They're not designed typically with a lot of extra capacity.
So you're talking about the different steel strengths and to repair it. Basically, what are we only looking at that, George, as a byproduct, say like a rubber-based product or a PVC product, something like that, to engineer the roof for some repair? You know, if we were to cut out some areas of jeopardized areas and repair them with some other kind of product, just to stabilize it till we get figured out what we're going to do with the entire roof.
So,
Because I can't on an assumption. I got to have more information than that.
so as Chris was saying, this is like a level, let's call it a level one.
Level one, yeah.
Analysis. So it's very basic, it's conservative, it's a worst case scenario. So now you go to the next level. What's the next level? We talked about having a company or maybe Chris or someone else. Second level would be to have a peer review. You can have someone else look at Chris's analysis, look at his numbers, make sure that his calculations, he entered everything into the model correctly. Everybody uses the same computer model. It's RISA. If he could share the model with them, that's a little bit of a savings. I talked to an engineer today. We talked about, and Chris and I talked about it, Marcus, about the steel. It's assumed to be 36 KSI, and the model doesn't run when you change that variable, but it's probably a good thing to test to make sure, because we're talking about a $3 million structure, and a test to confirm the steel might be, a couple $100. So that might be well worth it, even though everything points us in one direction. It's worth doing because we don't know.
More than worth doing.
It's more than worth doing. So
Absolutely.
I know we're at the beginning stage of this, but I would have liked this to come to us after the steel was tested and really bring it to the community. Right now, it seems like we're getting it way out of control here without testing the steel.
And just to be clear, the steel structure itself, according to the report, is not perfect, but it's in acceptable condition.
Yes.
We're only talking about the roof
correct.
of the structure.
That is correct.
But the steel frame is acceptable.
It's in good condition. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not, we painted it, 2009. We did some repairs. What was it, 5 years ago? And everything was, we looked at it. It had some, not even surface rust. It was kind of bleeding through a little bit, but it was still in. You didn't lose what's called section loss. Section loss means the steel's getting thinner and thinner. We don't have that. The paint is just coming off, and it's kind of spot rust kind of thing going on. But I think that the whole purpose of bringing this to the board was just to like a checkpoint. To say here's where we're at, so we don't go too far down the road, because you don't know another month or 2 months or 3 months. So to get somebody out there to test it, so it was kind of it ends Chris's service, because his service was to provide an analysis of how it meets the code today, and that's basically what we said to the board last time. We said we're investing in a new roof. We're doing all this work. We have new codes out there. Let's make sure you put $500,000. We don't put it on something bad. And here we are. We're looking at a potential issue. So right now, what the other thing is, and Chris didn't mention it, is in the 70s, you didn't have the advantage of these computer models and whatnot to analyze everything. So now the computer model freezes up when it sees a code problem. But back in the 70s, you didn't have a computer model to freeze up.
Right.
If they used a higher strength steel. So you had basically a lot of hand calculations, I would imagine. And some of these companies, and I talked to them and Chris talked to them, is they they make their product and they understand their product and they load test their product. So they know their product very well. So the people in the 70s said, okay, I know what my product can handle and I'm confident and I'll give it to you. But unfortunately, we don't have any drawings. We don't have any calculations. We don't have anything. We're absent all that information. So
Did
we're,
anybody contact NIPA, New York
Yes,
Power Authority?
I did.
And
Yeah.
they had no plans either.
NIPA or Con Edison, I try to reach out
That
to
was
both.
NIPA
Yeah,
that
but-
donated it to the
On the
village.
state side, I reached out to both, and they looked, they got back to me a week
No.
later after our last meeting. And they
That's
said
strange.
they couldn't find any plans on the pavilion. And the main reason I also want to bring it up to the board is just in case the pavilion cannot be used, we got the summer camp. So I want to make sure, but I don't want to be at the last minute and then a month from now, and then we got to tell what to do with summer camp. So as a possible solution, we're looking to put it, maybe if it can't use the pavilion, about a tent, putting up a tent and put a tent over the old tennis courts. And that's, we got some prices. They got to, I have Randy reach out, it'd be
yeah.
$18,000 for the 6-week program. If you want to put a tent over the tennis courts and keep the children out of the pavilion until we determine, that's a safety gap in case that
Well,
happens.
we want to make sure that it's structurally, because I know we also, in the report, it was discussed something about they couldn't tell how far the base went in, the footings.
the foundations. Yeah, we don't have design on that either.
And according to Chris, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think the
Sure.
issue you have was pieces of, possibly the roof coming down, nothing with the steel structure. Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, that was one risk, we don't want, just because of the corrosion I saw on the purlins, I was just concerned about the safety of that.
Right, so the deal would be if a section of roof will collapse or fall in the pavilion, the kids will be over the tennis court. So to continue the summer camp, that's worst case scenario. I just want to be able to we have alternatives in case we do reach this decision.
So you were talking about tents in the field also?
We were talking about tents in the field, but now I talked to Randy, and that would destroy the outfield, but they'll kill the grass. So the option, we'll put in the tennis courts, and say we're talking about doing something with tennis courts. The tents, you got to put the spikes into the blacktop. That doesn't matter. But then, and I'll talk to Jacqueline about it too. She said the kids could
Should
fit
be
in
this evening.
Yeah, she's there. So we got everybody on the same page to look at different options in case we can't use the pavilion.
So my only concern with putting it in the tennis court is you have the roof there, and if there's issues with the roof, like if it breaks apart, it can slide right into the tennis court and on top of the tent. You know what I'm saying? It's so close to the structure.
No,
Just
I
feel
think,
about lightning.
yeah, so
No,
I think
just
what we're
one,
talking
like-
about is something falling, not
Okay.
necessarily
Okay.
sliding
Okay.
off or anything like
Right,
that.
right.
It wouldn't be any type of catastrophic failure. It would be something like, a bolt fell, a brace fell or something like that and hit somebody in the head or something like that.
Correct.
So if you have it by the tennis court, what happens when it rains and it ponds?
Well, the idea would be the tennis court would be blacktop. If it's a little wet, it's wet. But in the field, then we have to deal with the mud. And that's the other thing. If we to put a floor, that's the other issue. I'm just looking at different options. If we put a floor where the tent in the baseball field, just a floor is $26,000. So
I think we're getting way ahead of
No,
ourselves.
that's
here.
Yeah,
We
way
need to
ahead.
figure out some more numbers,
See
get some more, he did analytics, right?
Right.
We need some hands-on testing
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
here before we
Yeah.
get and worry about tents.
Yep.
Yeah, there's clearly some concern. Let's look further and see whether it's a real concern, whether it's really concerned, like Teresa, you mentioned, I mean, there's a difference between the snow load on it or how it's going to behave in.
Going to rain.
In the rain.
I don't know.
In
if
the
it's loaded
summertime.
at that
Mhm.
point,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I don't
I
know.
think
If
there's-
that's a
Yeah.
concern now, close it now. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And open it back up in the
Right.
spring.
You know,
We
I
can
think
we
take
should.
advantage of it.
we closed it down. We closed it down.
Okay.
Until
Yeah.
we figure out
Yeah.
what's going on with this.
Yeah, so we can,
Discussing the
Should
options.
be
Exactly.
bouncing-
Exactly.
Bouncing things
Yeah.
around.
so we'll
But-
look at.
Tic Tacs.
So,
Part of the company to do the stuff.
yes, we have, Chris has a company he works with. I have a company I work with. We can come up with ways to methodically test each purlin as you go down and maybe do like a second repair. We did one 5 years ago. Say, okay, we might be comfortable in saying, okay, replace these 5 purlins and it might be sound and, do some type of pull test on it, some type of hand, like Anthony said, put your hands on it and pull it
Yeah,
and
because you
put a
can
weight
clean
on
out the corroded areas and tack something new on it
it.
and give it 100% integrity.
There's a lot of steel bridges that I see that have a lot of rust on them, and, you know, they test and they repair, and they, look at the railroad bridge down here that was going over there, the MTA was repairing that forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Battery.
But,
The one
Um,
in Taconic too, same thing.
so, well, like we said, we're in the beginning, the next, so instead of, so the next stage would be, there's, Chris is gonna come up with some thoughts on, next step as far as, like a level 2 evaluation, what repairs can be made. I'm gonna look into, the same thing with my testing company. We're also gonna speak to, getting a proposal from a second person for a peer review. So make sure the numbers are right, because it, you know, you gotta make sure that they're accurate. So,
How long will all that take?
That's right.
so the testing company, probably, to get back and forth and figure out a scope of work and to talk to Chris, probably a few weeks at least. And then, again, with the proposal, I spoke to the structural engineer today. He said, he'll get back to me next week with what that would cost to just look at his numbers and what they would be comfortable with the peer review. Because with a peer review, what structural engineers are very methodical and exact. So Chris went out there, he measured every beam. The next structural engineer is going to say, well, I'm not going to trust what he did. Maybe his tape measure was
So he's
broken,
gonna
you know? So he's going to want to measure it. So or he puts the caveat in there and he says, well, based on the measurements taken by XYZ engineer, I'm going to look at just his calculations. They'd be very specific. I'm not looking at how you measured. I'm going to think that you did that correctly, and I'm going to review it based on that. So it takes some time to put that together and get it to you guys. But
Well, I'm asking because I know Jacqueline is already planning for the summer camp.
yeah,
So the clock
Yeah.
is ticking for that.
it is. So I like the idea of putting the tent over there's a drain inside the tennis court too. So that's
That's what I was asking, you know, that area gets flooded
And the heavy rain, yes.
in the heavy rain. So how can we,
So it won't flood, it'll be just
yeah,
wet.
wet?
Yeah, that happens at the pavilion too. When the
Okay.
water comes off the.
So if
the-
Yeah,
same
can't they
thing.
do a little trench or something so if.
Oh, around the edges.
Rock,
Yes.
just, you know, so it blocks that.
Yep, that's a good
We
idea.
have to take,
Yeah.
you know.
And I just want to say, Chris has been wonderful to work with, and he says he'll share any data with anybody. He said, whatever the board would like to move forward, he's here to help and as much as possible. So he's not offended in any way having somebody else review his documents and come back to the board. So I just want to thank Chris for his openness working with us.
Sooner the better, right?
Yeah, I'd like to recommend if there's a possibility that we could fast track this.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait. Obviously, our next meeting is on Tuesday. You're not going to have
Right.
anything then.
maybe.
We'll wait till the workshop at the end of February, then you're into March. So, you know, if
If the
there's
board,
anything you
if
can
the
get
board's
ahead of
okay
time.
with it, want to move forward on everything. That way, hopefully for the next meeting, before the next meeting, we'll give you the results and then we can discuss it at the next workshop at the end of February.
Mhm.
And then hopefully make a decision.
Because there's not that many meetings between now and
That's right. And
Yeah.
summer camp.
summer camp.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I don't know what the availability of the tent is that size. I want so we get all ducks in a row.
I need more information than this. I mean, the site evaluation is really key here,
Mhm.
especially site inspection, site measurement, pick good pictures.
Mhm.
Because, you know, being in the industry, I know anything can be repaired. I mean, that really is just a steel fabricated structure that can be cut and tack welded back and have just as much as it was when it was built.
I agree. It can be. Anything can be rehabilitated, and our enemy is, we talked about at the last meeting, is these screws that
Yeah.
you've got rubber washers that, you know, the
Right.
sun likes to just
Dry 'em.
make them, dry them out, make them brittle, and
Yep.
and then you look at Chris's pictures and our pictures, and you see these little rust stains coming down the beam.
Mhm.
Bright white, the orange stands out.
Yeah.
So that's the culprit, and
Well, everything has a lifespan.
everything's got a life.
Especially
50,
construction.
50 years old.
50 years, so that's a long life.
George, we did, with grant money, I want to say 5, 6 years ago. And we did the base of it. We did some work on the base.
Correct.
around. So just remind me again, the work that was done.
Sure.
with
So our grant covered, it covered the base steel. There was some rust of some webs. They cut out the rust. They welded in new pieces in a few locations, and we put in some electric. We did the lights.
Right.
That was part of it. We did do a couple purlins. We took out the rusty ones, and replaced them. And, we also did, bridging over all the, Chris calls them vents. It's the frame, the metal frame. We did bridging from one purlin to another to make sure there was continuity, to reestablish that, where we saw that there was a problem. And that's basically all we did, for that grant. But everything was brought back essentially to the standard that it was before. What we're talking about now is codes, and did it meet
Right.
code, and the frames meet code.
A lot of changes within the code in 40 to
Yes,
50
George,
years.
the code now, I mean, the analytics you punched into your program is the code now for new construction, correct?
So the code is, the code that Chris references in his letter is the, what is it, the IBC, the building code. So that's what they look at it for.
But that's
or
new
they
for
use it.
new construction snow load.
Yes, but when you touch more than 50% of the structure, you take the roof off, that's, you have to go to new
New
code.
code.
Yeah.
So-
So what I'm saying is for spot repairs.
You're right back to
okay
where
with
that was the
That's-
intent back 5 years ago. You're
Yeah.
bringing it back to where it was. You're not changing anything, and it's minor repairs. That's one thing, but when you take the whole roof off and you put a
Yeah,
whole
no,
roof-
I was just.
No, repairs are,
Repairs, yeah.
spot repairs are a different ballgame.
All right, good.
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
So I have
Anyone
I have
have
one,
Chris?
No, Chris.
Yeah,
Anybody have any
I-
other
Oh,
questions?
Chris wants to add,
Want to say something?
yeah, I had a question. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who all is in the room, but, are any of you the village code enforcement people?
no,
No.
no,
No, okay. Do you have a village code enforcement?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'd welcome their opinion, because if they say, well, you have to follow this, if you only do this, you have to follow this code. Or
We can
if you,
ask them.
if you do this much, yeah, definitely open to their opinion.
Okay.
Like you said,
Okay.
yeah. And same with, like Marcus mentioned, for the other engineers. If someone's willing to look at this and say, well, no, I think there's this, and hey, found a mistake. I mean, I'm not perfect. But if it makes this thing work better for you, I'm all for it.
So what we did talk about was exemptions from the state. Maybe they got some type of exemption for some rule or something that was back then. Maybe the building code guy said, oh, back in the 70s, they got exemptions for whatever and however they did it. And it's something to keep in mind too. We designed steel, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 60, we only use 60% of a yield strength. So we say 36 KSI steel. We only use 24, really 24.
Yeah, it's about 24,
KSI
yeah.
is what we designed to. So there's a margin there. And then there's also the ultimate strength of the structure, which is another 58. So you got another 20 on top of that. There's a plastic region to get too off the tangent, but
Yeah, no, you're correct.
there's a lot has to happen
There's a- yeah.
for things
Right.
to fail,
Yeah.
right?
We don't design to failure. We design
Yeah,
to
we don't
save
design to
lives.
failure.
No.
We don't design to
Right.
failure. So there's more. So you see the snow out there, and you say, well, why isn't something falling? Well, there's margins in there. So
Right.
keep people from not designing right to the actual limit of things.
Right.
So.
All right.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Chris.
Thanks
All
for
right.
joining.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Have a good night.
And
too.
George, while you're
Bye.
here, my favorite subject of all time,
Sewer.
sewer treatment plant. Yes, if you could give us an update on that.
So last month, the DEC gave us, some more testing to do for mercury. We gave them that testing. They gave us some positive feedback, said we're writing your permit, which was good. And they said,
Is this the permit to upgrade,
yes.
give the
to
additional?
the
from
NY2A,
500 to 750?
correct.
Okay,
So they said that was going to come in the next few weeks. He said he had 7 or 8 permits he was writing.
good.
And ours was on the list to write. So once we get that permit, we'll know if there's any caveats in there that we have to be aware of to make sure that we capture everything that they want. Because they do have new regulations. They're actually picking up on mercury from other plants that we've talked to, and in this one, they added the mercury testing, and it's not just us, it's all the plants, because they're wanting to know what's going out into the river for mercury. So now it's like an annual test that people have to do, so that's gonna be our next thing. Because there's mercury, I guess, dentists, they're going to the dentist because people have mercury in their mouths, and
Right.
now it's getting into the water. Same thing with the PFAS, it's getting into the sewer, so they're gonna want to treat PFASs and sewage. So PFAS and mercury are now on the EPA, DEC hit list for treatment. So now that you gotta be, it could be coming, so, so we gotta be prepared for that, so.
So I just want to tell the audience, so right now, we are permitted for 500,000 gallons a day at our sewer treatment plant. So what we asked for is to upgrade our permit so that we're allowed to process 750,000 gallons a day at the sewer treatment plant. So that's what George is talking about. And thank you. We should be getting that permit in a couple of weeks.
Hopefully soon.
Thank you,
Right.
George. Good.
Thank you.
That's
Right
good
now,
news.
Rock
Thanks,
Street,
George.
what? How many gallons?
Uh,
We're well below, right?
we are at 200, I think, last month's report is about 280?
280.
280.
Between 230 and 280.
Yeah. So when the new construction project is online, we should be still well under the 500,
Well under.
well under.
Yeah.
And what was that approximation? It was about 30,000 gallons, I think, that any one project would add to the system.
When we say one project, so so for instance, when AMS goes online, they're about 30.
30,000.
I think Carbone was about 17, 18 something
Yeah.
thousand. So we're still going to be under. We got capacity there, and when we go, and we have that 100 that we have to give
Yeah.
to the
To
town.
the town.
So no real stress, immediate stress to the infrastructure then.
No.
So, well, we want to prepare for the future too. But so now with that 250,000, the agreement, the IMA, the intermunicipal agreement with the town was for another, what was it, 100 and,
100.
they get,
100.
no, they are 100, but then with the additional 250, it's 25% of the
25%.
additional 250.
Yeah.
So I think
Yes.
it's 62,500. I'm
Yep.
just trying to remember the numbers. So the town will get, now with that, now they'll have a total of 162,500 gallonage that they can use. The other thing is, I know we've been through the grants, through everything, the money, and so where are we with starting the project, putting the shovel in the ground in the spring?
So the permit is a little bit of a driver here because once you get the permit, we can finalize designs. If all goes well in 3 or 4 months, and if we get all our feedback from all our agencies, not just the DEC, we have the Department of Health as well. So once the DEC is okay, you got to give it to Department of Health. Department of Health says it's okay. They're 3 or 4 months out.
Department of Health is way behind.
Oh, I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
can't guarantee it. One day they'll come back.
I've actually given a project to the Department of Health in September, and that's 3-4 months ago already, and that had a grant as well to it. So they are understaffed, and it's unbelievable how far behind they are. So, but that's the kind of time we're looking at least 3, 4, 5 months to get approvals.
Okay.
So once you get the
Yeah.
approvals and you go out to bid,
So we're not talking anytime before the fall.
yeah, should be around the fall.
Gonna have a bid process.
There's, at least there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This has been a while in the making, so I'm just happy to see that it's getting towards the end there. Good.
It is. I think we've satisfied the DEC. That was the biggest hurdle.
That was a tough hurdle with them.
They, since December, when we got the other grant, we've been giving them stuff and they keep coming back and asking for
Yeah.
more. So,
Um, Well, that's, that went to the state to put that money out, the money from the Entergy Fund. And once they took control of that, Yes, Stephanie remembers. We had some interesting discussions with them.
The good part is with Dominic's help, we've been able to work our way through
Good.
the administrative process to get some of the money flowing, which is good. I mean, we got payments 1, 2, and 3
Good.
Thank you,
cleared. So
Dominic.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Great
Dominic's
job, Dominic.
Good.
working
Lot of
hard on that.
paperwork involved. Yeah.
Dominic, they had a gigantic spreadsheet. I gotta give him credit. He is amazing with spreadsheets that between WRP, WIA, Entergy money, DEC, he tied everything in together so we can, well, we have to account for every single penny that comes in, 3 different agencies, plus the town can review our books as well. So
Mhm.
we want to make this as bulletproof as possible on the print. So I got to thank Dominic for all the hard work.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dominic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dom.
I know it's not fun to go through that adventure with them. So thank you. And thank you, George,
You're
for
welcome.
being on top
You're
of
welcome.
Thanks,
everything.
George.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Okay, anything else for George? Just be careful driving home with that black ice.
Oh, one thing that Marcus and I talked about, next month, 2 things that come up, stormwater and
Maybe.
paving. So we had some good conversations about stormwater and paving. Well, the paving part was good. The stormwater is what it is. It's regulatory
Right.
MS4. They keep asking you for stuff. But I think the roads, we've narrowed it down to 4th Street, Westchester, and First. I mean, you've seen First Street, it's had crack ceiling forever on it, right? So
It's time.
it's
We just did that, to prolong
We
it.
got 4th Street, Westchester.
4th Street,
First.
Westchester, and First. And it's a lot of it's contingent upon, what you're going to want to put towards funding, if you want to wait, or you want to.
Yeah, well, our recommendation, just to give you a preamble, we want to wait till after June when we get the new budget. We get another 300,000. Without that money, we're not going to be able to do these streets.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
we have limited funding, but at least in June, we get another 300,000 and then we can do all 3 streets.
So, yeah, so with I think it's with 180,000 that you have now, plus the 300 gives you 480. So 480, you can do a lot more than,
Right.
you end up doing just one. So that's, like Marcus said, that's a preamble. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
Save it.
So the other thing, George, I wanted to mention is when we had the sewer treatment plant and what the gallonage is now today, but the reason why we're at that also is because there was a lot of sealing of, that was part of what was the DEC that we needed to address. It was over
Yep.
5 years. We needed
Yep.
to cut down on the inflow into the sewer treatment plant. So how much do you think with lining the pipes and whatever other things we did, how much gallonage do you think?
We summarized that in a year-end closeout email. But I want to say in my head, it was 100,000 gallons, something along those lines. But I could get you that email to get you some exact numbers if you.
I mean, that's substantial. Otherwise, we'd be at 340, 350.
Right. So, and I think that's what was triggering, well, that's not really what triggered it. It actually was an employee thing that kind of triggered it. They weren't getting their things in that can trigger
Well, yeah,
consent.
the consent order had nothing to do with
With,
that.
with that just came along because when the
But I think-
DEC
We're being done.
finds one thing, they start to do all the things they can find. So,
They have a heyday, right?
yeah, so
All right. Thank you, George.
you're
Thanks,
welcome.
George.
Thanks, George.
Thank you. Well,
next
Good night.
time.
All right, George, be well.
take care, you too. Safe home.
You
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
you
you
too.
Yeah,
We didn't have much of a trip, George, so we're good.
There's icy out there.
Marcus, do you have anything else before we go into our?
The only thing I have I got, I think a pretty good, update. I just got a call from, Richard Comey, our consultant for Verizon,
Oh, good.
Verizon finally got back.
Did-
And they actually are now talking to their planning and zoning experts to try to get everything together to meet our code. So that actually Verizon actually is now looking of moving forward. So hopefully
That's
soon
good.
under our code is a special permit under the planning board. So I gave them the escrow, they're willing to pay the escrow. They got the escrow set up for that. They're working on the application. David, Richard Comey, and their people are going to start talking to get everything, get the full application ready to go to the planning board. So hopefully we're hearing more soon, but at least Verizon is now actually talking to our tenant people. So hopefully that'll be moving forward. So
Right.
heard
And
that
I
today.
have asked, I don't know if you've asked the police chief, but I've asked when I was speaking to the chief of the fire department the other day to kind of get a letter for us too, just as backup.
Mhm.
And what we're talking about now is the proposed cell tower that's behind the highway department. That's where it will be. A lot of people have been complaining about the lack of service, but then also our first responders are complaining in the village. We have some service gaps, and as the years go on, they're just getting worse. So I'm happy to see that Verizon is kind of interested in joining in, and then after that, some other companies should be joining in. We should have better cell service.
And I made it very clear to Verizon that this is a public safety issue, not only for the police department, but people who might have to make emergency phone calls from your cell phones.
Right.
So hopefully that made a difference. Based on our last meeting, I expressed that to Verizon, and they actually are now talking. So they're agreed to the terms of the license agreement, and hopefully will be in front of the planning board, hopefully by next month. That's what I'm hoping for.
All right, if that doesn't happen, then, we definitely will forward some letters, because I
Okay.
think you mentioned the public safety, so at least it's a backup, with them
Yep.
jumping in too. There was something else I wanted to ask you. Oh, we had talked about this 2 months ago, and it's something I guess we're going to have Stephanie look into. But we talked about the batteries, the Con Edison batteries on top of telephone poles.
Yes.
Do you know where that is, if they're still moving forward, but
Right now, they have only one location as a test. They have not decided to roll it out yet. As far as I know, they're testing it right now in one location. I think I had a picture. I think forwarded around to everybody. So I can reach out to Con Edison and find out if there's any plans to roll it out anyplace else. But I think they're looking more at urban areas,
oh, okay.
where there's high intensity of possible usage. So I think I can see them doing Yonkers,
White Plains.
Chester, Peekskill,
White Plains,
and those kind of
probably,
places,
yeah.
White Plains. But I can reach out to them, see if there's any update of what's going on.
So they're like the battery storage
Correct.
batteries, those
That's
type of
correct.
batteries.
That's
So,
correct.
That's going to be interesting if those things,
Full.
well, not only full, like if they go on
If they
fire,
combust,
that's going to be,
Mhm.
it's going to be a disaster right
Yep.
there. But I don't know.
Yep. I can follow up. I can follow up.
We don't have it.
Yes.
But it might be something we want to look at before they even come here. But I don't know, because it's a utility. I don't know.
Right,
if you're
there's-
gonna be able to go
I think that would
There's
be
no-
exempt.
probably.
There's no approval process that they would have before the
Mhm.
board.
Right.
No.
at carte blanche.
No. I know some municipalities have done a moratorium against battery storage, but nothing, but a utility is I
Yeah.
don't think you
They're
can
tough.
do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Public Service Commission won't back you up on that, that's for sure.
Okay.
You have anything else?
That's it.
Stephanie?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, welcome. So with the storm, I'm just happy to announce that we were okay. There were a few cars that were on the road originally, and the police department went out and issued tickets. So during the bulk of the storm, there were no cars on the road. So the highway department was happy with that. Also, many of you know Mr. Ryan. He lives in the village. He wanted me to tell the highway department and to tell everyone 3 huzzahs. He was very happy with how the cleanup was, and so were all the residents. Everybody did a great job. The fire department, I know, was on standby for 24 hours. They were actually in the fire department, so if there was an issue, there was somebody there to man the trucks and get a truck out. I spoke to the chief, I spoke to the highway foreman, the fire chief. So everybody worked together and did what they needed to do, and our village looks fantastic. I don't know if I should name other places, but not too far from here, I drove through the streets, and it,
Terrible.
and Marcus would be a good witness to that. Yeah. Oh, Dominic too. Yeah. But that's why people need to understand, that's why we don't want cars on the road, because this way the plow can plow curb to curb, and that's how it cleans up the road. Otherwise, you have one side of the road. What about on your street? Do you have one side of the street?
Teresa, for the reason, forget about curb to curb, the middle of the street is not paved.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, it's not plowed.
It's all.
Yeah, it's bad.
I've driven around there and it's all.
It's sheet of ice, the entire place.
Oh my God. Well, we're lucky to be here. We got
Very lucky.
good highway department. Everyone works well, and They done good. They done good.
Absolutely.
Let's see, next week I'm going to the Westchester, not the Westchester, the NICOM legislative meeting in Albany. This is an annual meeting. This is some of the legislative things that Albany will be working on. One is the AIM funding, and they've added temporary $50 million into the budget. Right now with the AIM funding, we get about 18,000. So it might be a little bit more, but we're not looking, with AIM funding, it's not a lot. And one thing I thought was really interesting, we talked about this at the Westchester Municipal Officials Association. They're trying to get into effect a comprehensive clearinghouse for grants. Because right now, looking for grants in the state, you have to go here, you have to go there, the DEC, that you're all over the place. So I'm glad to see that they're finally figuring out to make it easier for people what's available. It's hard to figure out what's available. Another thing that's interesting is the reform requirements for municipal building code enforcement. So they have some really good topics, and usually with NICOM, it's they're advocates for us. They work with the municipalities, and usually they have informative meetings. Okay, the Con Edison rate case, Marcus has been following it. I've been forwarding to the board, and Marcus has been forwarding the board as we go along, what's been happening. So there were 40 out of the 45 municipalities in Westchester County that joined together in a consortium. And what we all wanted to do was fight the double-digit increases that Con Ed was proposing over the next 3 years. So it was, I think what happened is we all work together. The 40 municipalities work together, but we have other elected officials in the county, the state, that are still not happy with this settlement, but they want it zero. I don't understand how that was going to happen with Con Edison. They used some of our information that we had compiled through the attorney, and they really didn't work with us. But I think, it's not zero, but it's much better than the double-digit increases that were being proposed. So before, the proposal for gas was 11.4%, electric was 13%. That's what Con Edison had asked for, plus extensive delivery charges, very expensive. So the firm that was hired was Joel Dichters, and he did many studies and handled all the negotiations. He did a fantastic job. It cost each municipality about $2,500. So that was really a good investment. So what resulted was 85% reduction from the proposed rates. The end result, 3-year agreement. So electric will increase 3.6, 3.3, and 3.3 over the 3 years. So look at the difference, 13% compared to 3%. And gas was 2.4, 7.8, which is high, 5.6. So the electric, the average increase will be $5.27 a month. And the gas in the first year, $5.73 a month, $19.32 in the second year a month, and $15.08 in the third year. So I think we all, the board all agreed to go in on this with the other 40 municipalities, and I think that was a decent result for our residents.
Money well spent.
Yes, yeah, for 2,500, you can't beat that. I did speak to Senator Harcum about our infrastructure needs here. He wanted a list of capital projects. I did send to him the pavilion. I threw that in. Also the pool, and also there was something else. But really, it's the pavilion, the pool. These are two substantial infrastructure expenses, looking like it's going to be heading our way with the pavilion. I don't know. We'll see. We have a lot more information to get. So what I'd like to do is get a consensus from the board with the whole tech money. What would we like to, what is the dollar amount, and what would we like to ask Holtec for? I mean, are we looking at maybe asking them to do the kiddie pool, to put money towards the upgrades, money towards the pavilion.
Well, the focus should definitely be on those two items. That's what I said before. And so I'm hoping the ball field's off the record because these two
Just
issues,
What up, Dan? It was just their
I'm
offer.
just saying, Mayor.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's just an offer that
So,
they had, so,
Um,
but yeah.
you know, these two, items need to be addressed. So.
And I like to add something, since the letters are floating around that I'm the pickleball queen and that I want all of this money for pickleball, it's false. And I agree that money that we get should go to the pavilion, should go to the pool. It's all for the students and the children and the residents. Not, even pickleball is for the residents. So if I brought something to the village that's creating talk, good. If I brought something for the community that is something positive, then good. And then I'll hold my, what is it? They call me the pickleball queen crown proudly. Because what we do here is for the residents, not for us. I don't have secret meetings. I don't write letters. I'm here and I respond to the public here. So I agree.
So then let's talk further. We have the 100,000 from Senator Harkam again. We have, Cindy's not here, but I believe 225,000 in
Recreation fund.
the recreation fund that's still there.
Plus you got what?
Yeah. It's
AMS recreation funds coming in.
It's about
once-
170.
About 171,000,
Okay.
something, right?
So, and then the other thing is, and I was hoping to leave that money for the sewer treatment plant because we did have to tell the DEC that we do have backup money. And I think that, Marcus, correct me if I'm wrong, 1.5 million with the excess money that we've had in the budget over the last 3 years.
Yes, 1.4 million.
In the
yeah.
general fund?
The general fund.
Yeah.
Yes,
The fund balance.
yes.
1.4, no, this is just like food
Correct.
for thought to let everybody know finance-wise where we are with everything.
And didn't we mention in relation to the pool, possibly floating a bond on that, Marcus?
That too. The question I want to ask, Teresa, the question for you is,
I mean,
are they
not the
talking
choice,
about
but
just giving you money or will they be able to do construction work? I'm thinking like, if they get able to do the concrete, remove the concrete and pour the concrete, if they have a contractor, they can do a lot cheaper than we can. Or that hopefully we can try to limit the prevailing wage if we can. But if they can remove the concrete, we could do the plumbing and they can then put the concrete pad. But that's the most expensive part of that concrete. I'm just trying to think maybe they can do work versus
They have
just
their
giving
own
us cash.
contractors,
So I'm
yeah.
just throwing it out there as an option.
But this is separate than the $100,000 that Senator Harkam had earmarked for us back last fall.
Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
that I think we already discussed
For the old tennis courts.
for the old tennis
Okay.
courts
Correct.
to renovate those. and
Correct.
To make them,
make it.
And most of it was a drainage issue. and
Right.
To redo the blacktop.
Yeah.
Yes.
okay.
And not specifically for pickleball though.
No,
It's
no.
for multi-use court.
Correct. Right.
Let's get that straight, because somebody in the public think that's just for Wilda's use, as the pickleball queen. We want to use it as a multi-use for the entire community for whatever they choose
We
to
had-
use it for.
We had discussed, they make these courts that can be used for basketball, tennis, pickleball,
Correct.
multi-use.
I noticed in Verplank too, they have this very, very small basketball court that's right on the lake.
Yeah.
That court is always so busy. There's constantly people using
very
that
nice
court. Yeah,
It is.
Yeah. So those are all different options we could do. Absolutely. Yes.
all right.
Mhm.
So
So,
if you go to a lot of hotels, they have that multi-surface, multi-use court.
Yep.
no, good. I think that's important that make it a multi-use. You
Yeah.
can't just use single-use
Correct.
things anymore. So, there's
See
people
what
that,
happened at the
Different
roller hockey
terrain.
rink in the town.
Yeah.
Roller hockey was very popular in the early 90s and it's no longer popular.
things change.
So you never
And now
know.
it sits there.
So I was just thinking about
No,
the.
it's
if
that
they-
ice skating rink now.
Who are we talking about?
Hotep.
And what is the dollar amount that we're talking
I
about?
don't know. I mean,
That's what we kind of need to know.
If they
like,
did in-kind service, yeah.
to ask
Yeah.
them what to do, money, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I could ask about that, but then again, I can also ask about, what other things are the boards looking for if they don't want to do that? So,
Well, the pool is mainly the concrete pad, replace the pipes and you're done. I mean, it's not
But,
sophisticated.
how are they gonna, how are they gonna designate this money? Like, are we they're just gonna give us money as a community,
I'm just
Fine.
asking the board, like, what are your thoughts? Like, what would you like to ask them for? Like, what are you looking to do? You know, the pool seems to be.
yeah, I mean, what are they proposing?
They want to know what we want.
We have a list. Let's go.
I mean, we
Yeah, I mean,
talked about this multiple
between
times.
the pool and.
pool,
Yeah.
the pool or the pavilion.
Yeah.
Those are my main
Yeah.
areas right now.
You know, the unfortunate thing is years ago with the big corporations, they would donate a lot. They would donate big things. So, you know, the only two big corporations we have is Certainty and,
Holtec.
yeah, well, there's a reason why we're saying all this. We try to come to an agreement with Certainty, about, some of the infrastructure things that were affecting the village, and that negotiation did not go well. But years ago, you could see NIFA gave us that pavilion. So, you know, we only have the two big companies, so it's not like we have a lot of sources to tap with, asking for money.
But we have them,
Mhm.
at least Holtec, we
hold
can
it, Mike.
propose what we want.
Hold it, Mike.
Let's see what they say.
Mike.
Oh, I said, we do have Holtec. You're asking for a list. We've given a list. Let's see what they say.
Mm-hmm, yep. Okay, so that's that, and, let's see. And then, you know, at the DOB meeting, like I said, I did ask, Senator Harkam and Levenberg about, also the school district asked extending the cessation fund, because we know in the next couple of years, the cessation fund,
27th of last year.
it was a 7-year bridge, basically, that the state gives to, communities that lose their electrical generating plants, and we're at the end. We're at the end. Okay, I think that's all I have for today. Dan, what do you have for us today?
Just, again, the Buchanan St. Pat's Parade is going to be on the 15th of March, 2 p.m. We'll have the ceremony prior with the handing out of the sashes and presentation of the Grand Marshal and aides at the firehouse. I think we're aiming for 10 o'clock, right, Steve? We'll start. And then, again, great job by Randy and DPW. They're doing a terrific job. We already hit on the monies for the project, so we need to hear back from Holtec. And to go back to the St. Pat's Parade, we're having a committee meeting on Monday, the 2nd of February. We're going to have it here, second floor, so anybody that wants to be involved, the more the merrier.
Count me in. Dan, count me
Great.
in. Okay.
Yep.
Anthony, what do you have for us this evening? Go back and forth.
Dan, I want to get involved with that as well. I think that's something we should all get involved with. The more information and the more ideas, the better off we are for that. Try and keep that going, you know. I'm glad you guys
Absolutely.
jumped in and did what you did last year to help this, to keep it going. It was really helpful. I don't have much, just that I would like to commend the highway department for the storm. They did a great job. As Teresa said, they did, the cleanup was great. And, I drove around, there wasn't a lot of cars on the road, and thanks for the police department for assisting them and getting the cars removed from the road so we could, clean the streets thoroughly, because it was a daytime storm, basically. The majority of it was, so people did obey the call. They read the code red that was put out by the mayor and did get off the streets. And that was great to see that it did. And I know there was some, if nobody signed up for that, they need to sign up. I know we redid
Yeah,
the system.
I'm glad you're bringing that up. Yeah.
And they do need to sign up for that, because it is a good system that we have here. Marcus, any news on any of the projects that were, you know, anybody else come for Blakely Avenue? How's the sale of that property? Anything?
Total silence, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. And nothing from Giordano?
No, nothing. No.
All right, no. Oh, yeah, while we're talking about this, there was a specific question on AMS project concerned about the fire access and the widening, the size of the roads and the access from the street, I know it was from a concerned citizen, somebody who's very safety oriented. So I just want to put it out there that there is a drawing. We went through this process for 18 months. The fire department was involved. The school district was involved. All of everything that we needed to do was completed. All the testing, the DOT, everything that was needed, all the data we needed to do was done. And it seems to be a question that keeps going around on social media, because these trolls on social media keep coming at us about this development. And they keep saying that we didn't do our due diligence in getting this done. We did. As a board, we did. We did all our homework, all the data that was compiled, we went through, we made changes for the access for the fire department. As we did widen the road so the tower ladder could swing in. It was something that was brought up by the fire department, which we did make good on, and AMS did what they had to do to make good on it as well. So there is access to 75% of that building. And I mean, if you think about your home, is there access to 100% of your home or 75% of your home? I mean, they were supposed to give us that, and the state recommended it. Everything was fulfilled the way it was supposed to be. So if you come to the meetings and you have questions, instead of hiding behind the keyboard, please do. Come to the meeting. Come to the meeting and don't hide. We'll answer your questions. It's very simple. We have all the data. We have all the answers. Don't hide. Please come. Thank you.
I'm 100% behind what you said. And I couldn't agree more. Hiding behind a piece of paper, hiding behind a screen is not voicing your opinion. It's stating issues that don't even exist.
And it's divisive.
Yes, it is. Very divisive.
So, speaking of trolls, now that the silly season is upon us, I see the trolls are active already. So, it shall be a couple of interesting months, I guess.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to mention with the AMS building, I know the fire department has been over there checking things out and looking at things. They are going to be in need of more hoses for that building if ever anything happens. So what I would request is that AMS cover that expense for them. We should not be paying for that expense.
Does the fire department ask them?
I've heard about it.
I mean,
So I'm going to have him go to you. We just had a conversation the other day. Steve told him to write a letter. No, I just happened to talk, excuse me, I realize that. But I just happened to be having a conversation with the chief the other day during the storm, and he brought that issue up. So I just wanted to bring it up to the whole board, and I just think it's appropriate that if we have to expend for more hoses, that for them, that they should be picking up the tab.
I
That's
agree
all.
with that. That I agree with.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
But
I'd like to
I wish-
we have to look into that. I know there's 3 fire hydrants that will be located on that property. I don't know what the distance is from that fire hydrant in comparison to, let's say, Certainty and where they are. But sure, if that's something the fire department
Absolutely.
requests
It's
and
interesting
requires.
because it's interesting, this is the first time I hear about it myself, and also through 2 years of discussion, but also they were concerned about their radio transmission, and I don't know if you guys know, AMS voluntarily put repeaters in the building.
Yeah.
So therefore they have radio communication throughout the entire building, and that was done after the fact, and it took their cost themselves to do it. So
Good.
they're trying to work with the fire department, but it's the first time I hear about hoses,
But yeah, I told him
Okay.
to bring that up, but since I was talking to him the other day through the storm, you know, we just happened to have a discussion on that. You want to go next, Steve?
Sure.
The last one.
Yeah. So once again, I just want to thank the DPW for all their hard work in the last storm. Looks like there is a possible another storm coming this weekend, so thank the guys for being out there and all their hard work. It seems like the code red is working, which is really great.
Had some bugs to work out.
Yep. Anybody that's interested in helping with the St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee, as Dan mentioned, we will be meeting Monday, second floor here at 7 p.m. Could definitely use another set of hands to help us out, so appreciate that. And regarding the AMS project, and I know there's still questions out there within the community. If anybody has any questions, again, please feel free to come here, come to the podium. Our email address or phone number, we're always available. Happy to answer any questions. I think most of the questions that are coming out there really have been answered already. It's just a matter of the communication and please reach out. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Awilda?
I've said everything I have to say, except thank you to the Highway Department. I did get a lot of text messages of how happy the residents were. Great job. We're happy with what was done. You did a great job.
Okay, Marcus, you're all set. Any comments from the floor? No? Yes, sir. Just state your name and we usually, we have it 3 minutes for comments.
Hopefully,
But thank
hopefully it won't be that long.
Okay,
Mike Vaccaro, I think I know most of you. I live on Rockledge Avenue. My question is for the project at the end of Rockledge, I don't know what you call it, not the one behind the hardware store. Is that AMS?
Gallon measure or
No, the one across from Day Rose that the,
Village Square? The
Village Square.
park-owned
Yeah.
project. Yep.
it seemed like it was cleared out pretty quickly and it's kind of at a standstill. I'm just wondering, as a resident of that road,
Yeah.
what's the plan? What, is it all of a sudden going to start up again? Curious what's going on.
When we asked Marcus and I think was it George or Peter
Peter.
mentioned, I think they were waiting on some health department permits
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
so
water connection.
As if you heard, the health department is 6, 7 months behind. So the whole issue is they're putting a new sewer line in there on behalf of the village. They need the Department of Health approvals. They just got that a couple of weeks ago. So now they're getting contracted together. So the big holdup was the Department of Health approvals. That's finally be approved. Now they got to finalize their plans and then submit it to the building department. That's where we are right now. So the plan is for them to move forward.
If you had a guess, and I won't hold you to it, when will work start up again there?
The hopes are this summer is when they will start work. This spring,
Summer, yeah.
Spring, summer, correct.
I just want to plan then to go down Seward, avoid that. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, anyone else?
I'll be fast because this might take more than 3 minutes. Diane Tangent. No, I just wanted to ask, there's so much, conversation and it's all about getting money for Indian Point. That's the bottom line for everything, right? I just want to go over everything. You said the cessation fund. It's my understanding when the plant was closed down, the cessation fund has $15 million and we shared that? No,
The cessation fund is an electric fund through the state.
right.
And so there's two different things. So that's a 7-year program. It starts kicking in at 80% of the loss of our revenue. So we're down to the last couple of years. So that's separate. When you,
We started receiving that when?
oh gosh,
We've received
5 years
that,
ago.
though.
About 5
Okay,
years.
for receiving that for 5 years.
2022, I believe.
The
Okay.
year
Yeah, it
after the
wasn't the
closure.
first year.
And we're going to get how much of that?
We're down to the end. The last 2 years is like $116,000 each.
Okay.
And then there's no more. But what you're talking about is the Entergy Community Fund, which was $15 million.
Right.
Originally,
Share.
we were supposed to get the money to do our sewer treatment plant, and Entergy was all on board to give us the money. And the agreement was that the state and Entergy had to agree how the money got spent. So Entergy leaves the New York State, and they had to turn the money over to the state. This is a true story. And so Stephanie,
For the affected community.
yeah, and Stephanie is a witness to this. So now the state holds the money. We were told, so we said, look, we'd like to move forward with the sewer treatment plant. We are in control of the money, and we will tell you when you get the money and how you get it, and you will share it with the town of Cortland.
So we still don't have it.
We do. We're close to getting it. So when George talked about starting this project, that is part of it. There was 7 million, and the town made an agreement that they would surrender all of the money if they could get 25% of the additional and 100,000 gallons. So the town will have the use of the sewer
Well,
treatment.
this is where the town's getting the sewerage.
Yes, okay,
Got
so
it.
they're getting 100 and then the 62,000 with the additional.
And that's from this money that had to do with the closing of Indian Point.
Yes.
And what about the
Ma'am.
river keeper? Supposedly he wanted.
Oh, they got plenty.
Okay.
All the environmentalists
Okay.
got plenty, yes.
The town Riverkeeper got like 6 million, so
Yeah.
that 15 was in total.
All right.
So
Yeah,
split
yeah.
up.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then we also along the way got two different grants, the WIA grant and the WQIP grant. So that's giving us the money to be able to do the sewer treatment plant at a tune of 10, 11 million
Does that have
dollars.
anything to do with the plant closing?
Some of it is, some of the money
Okay.
is towards that and some of the grant money. So all combined together will give us the money to do the sewer treatment plant.
Because I am very angry, and I think it's very unfair that we do not get money from the nuclear waste
Thank
that's
you.
there. And that's the federal government. And it has $60 billion. And this is the fund that I know that the companies had to pay in because they generated electricity through nuclear energy.
The Stranded Act.
And so that's called stranded, that's the part.
Yeah,
stranded,
No,
yeah.
that's stranded. Okay, so, and then we also were supposed to be able to tax the casks. That came down too. I went through all my notes. All right, how do we get, I know that Holtec gets 2.3 or 2.5 billion, something to that effect, to shut down the plant. Where do we get anything from all of this? So where do we get anything for storing all that?
We don't. But this is where the Stranded Act comes in. I just had a conversation today. Mike Lawler is willing to help us, and I have been working with him. I had a conversation with him today. What happened is the people in the Midwest, Senator Schneider, Representative Schneider and Senator Duckworth, all on board to do this, and they dropped the ball. So Mike has been trying to work with them and get this moving. So he has been in contact with them. If they do not move this forward, Mike Lawler is going to reintroduce this bill. What happens with the nuclear power plant, what they do is every 2 or 3 years, they will add up all their expenses for storing it there, and they will then sue, technically, the Department of Energy. There was an agreement made many, many years ago, and we never made an agreement to have this as permanent storage here. We're a de facto storage facility with this stuff here.
I understand all that.
So that's not fair. And so that's what the Stranded Act is, because this could potentially, having that there, hurt us for redeveloping the property. So we should be compensated. And there's many other, throughout the country, I've been in contact with many of the other facilities, and they're all on board with this. But these are for the closed facilities that we're looking at with the Stranded Act. So I know Mike has said he will move it forward. He was waiting, he was being respectful to them, but they're dragging their feet and they've dropped the ball. The other thing was you mentioned, the agreement, we had the legislation that was passed.
Right?
Stephanie was very,
2021.
very
Right.
instrumental. So what happened with that, it ended up being more of a negotiation piece for us. So we could tax them with that, but we have
Who would we tax?
we would tax Holtec. That's what it was all about. So it was a negotiation piece. We came in, I believe, with a very good agreement. It was more than the previous agreement. So that's like a negotiation piece that we used. We used that for leverage for our negotiation.
So that brings me then to all of the property that we're talking about, and it's been on the, social media, as we said. First of all, you just mentioned that there's property that has been uncontaminated. There was a very lovely article about the village a number of years ago when this board wasn't on the board at all. It was a different board, but you were, Teresa. And you mentioned about the uncontaminated property. And we had a vision of over there, what we would have, what we thought we could have adjacent to Lentz Cove. thought about residential, retail, restaurants, marina. It all sounds really wonderful, but when we'll get use of that property, who knows? And across the street is Mr. Griffin's property. And Mr. Griffin has a right, I guess, to use his property. My thought is, because Charles Point is filled with recreation, there is the Factoria there, there's a volleyball thing. Now there's the new go-karts.
Yeah.
They're doing
That, if
phenomenal.
we ever have a chance to work with Mr. Griffin, does anybody, I don't know where he is right now, but I meant, there must be some contact. He must want to work. I know where he is. But I meant, maybe he wants to work with the village should be working with him. He has a large piece of property. Someone must have gotten in touch with him because people did come and make a presentation. That's all they did. There was nothing else done, but there's all kinds of conversation about that. I think it would be perfect to have some kind of a sports center there. My granddaughter goes to, she plays soccer, and they go to, it's called, it's like a big bubble.
Big dome.
Yeah, the dome. It's called a dome. The money that comes in from that dome, it's amazing. I've been to them. And they are there all day. They have tournaments. And then there's places where they have basketball. Sometimes it's turned into basketball shells. It's just amazing. I mean, we have to pay money to get into it. They pay money to be in the tournament. There's all kinds of sports things. And sports
Great
is
kids.
the most popular thing going on in the country right now. So I would think that we as a board should possibly be trying to work with any agencies or any someone that might represent, Mr. Griffin, and see if that might be some way you could work together to develop the property. That way it would fit beautifully over in Len's Cove. Perfect.
You know, it's Mr. Griffin's property, he would have to agree to it, but we could do something, not a request for a proposal, a request for information, and where different developers would express an interest of what they would do with
Well,
the
I'm sure he
property.
would be interested. I don't know the man. I certainly do because he's quite famous, but I would think that he would be very interested to work with the board to develop his property so they
yeah,
can either
it's been
sell it or
vacant.
make some money from it.
So I wanted to mention about the property, the 60 acres is not on the table at this point, and I believe that is not contaminated. When you go next to Certainteed, the property there,
Oh, yes.
Holtec found some light contamination. They are cleaning it up. They are interested, they're working on, they have to release the property through the NRC, so it's a process. There's borings, they have to, it's a whole process before they can release the property. So they are cleaning the property up. And that would be the first parcel that would be released. The only thing is, they're interested in a data center to put in there. And that goes into a whole nother thing, because when we were at the last DOB meeting, one of the county legislators had a meltdown expressing her interest of what she would like to see over there, and it's definitely not a data center. I don't know if they have the power that's necessary to do that data center.
What is a data center? Is it something we should be adverse to? I don't even really know what it is.
Much about it, and I'd like to learn more.
Truthful with you.
And Marcus has said it's more of like a storage facility.
Computer servers.
Yeah.
It's all AI.
Yeah.
Would it give us a lot of taxes?
No,
No.
no, but it.
Well, if it wouldn't generate much taxes, then I can't see where we would like it. If it wouldn't hurt us.
To go back to the 60 acres, my understanding is that out of those 60 acres, you got to take the buffer for the casks. So really, in reality, you're looking at maybe 30 acres, 40 acres.
Yeah, because the casks are there.
What about the side by Lens Cove?
That's the side.
Yeah.
That's the area we're talking about.
Yeah.
Potential, but they're not,
Oh,
It's
Interested
a
in-
big, take
not by Certainteed.
no.
No.
That's Holtec. Holtec's property went right up to our baseball field that we have at Len's Cove. So they're all through there. So the one that they're working on to release, but their interest is into the data center, and before everybody,
A Certainteed.
that's, no, that's, the data center is by Holtec. So Holtec is interested, oh, yes, the
By
property is by certainty, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
between, right.
Right, so it's where Unit 3 used to be, right there, they're interested. So, we can look at it different ways. I know Marcus says there's not a high tax thing for that, but then again, you could, if the company really wants it that bad and we feel that it fits into the community, you could always do a pilot with them, a payment in lieu of taxes. So that's one way.
Yeah.
Infrastructure.
I knew at the time,
Pilot.
I'm sorry. What'd you say, Steve?
I don't.
Oh, but
No.
no, I know at the time of this, when you talked about what the future looked like there, one of the things we didn't want was manufacturing or industrial. Right, okay. All right, just trying to get.
Well, thank you for the questions. Yeah, I'm
Thank
sure
you, Mrs.
everybody else
Tangent.
has the same questions, so thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
Darlene Garrett. I think I know almost everybody. So I'm not on social media, so I do need to come here and speak my questions.
Good. Everybody's listening.
So first question is, how much do we have out in bonds currently? Because I know in this budget year, we have $78,000 increase in interest. So what is our current lending?
I have to look at the budget. I don't know off the top of my head.
Because, Danny just floated potentially the idea for a bond for the pool or parts of it. So I just would be interested to know what we have out there, because I know there was a $78,000 increase in our interest on our loans right now.
And if we could give we have the report, I just have to look for it, the payback on the bonds each year, what the dollar amount is. Because when the audit was done, that was one of the things that came out, what we're paying back on the bonds.
Is it 78,000, Marcus?
I don't.
That was the increase that I saw for this 2 budget year, if memory serves me correctly.
I have to look, yep.
What is our enrollment for summer camp?
Jacqueline was just here.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Approximately
maybe
200?
200?
About the,
Yeah, about 200 kids.
Okay. Has there been a traffic study done by Carbone for his building? I know AMS did one.
They're required to. On the secret, everybody's required to do a traffic study.
Now, they do one, or do we we as in the village get a outside company?
we hire an outside company
It's an independent company
that's paid by the developer.
that's paid by the developer.
They have an escrow account that pays for independent that we hire.
Okay. And, I think every citizen, even you that live in the village, are all concerned always about lowering our taxes, right? That's why we want to develop the village. I just want to say that I think the development, though, should be in line with what we want the village to look like. And, maybe housing. It's just, I think the AMS project, there's a lot going, I don't know enough about to speak about it, but the thing is an eyesore and it doesn't fit within the village aesthetic. So I don't think people are necessarily adverse to development, and we shouldn't be, because we need to do something for our taxes. But I think as a board, you need to keep in mind what are the aesthetics that we want here in the village, no matter who the developer is. And I think my 3 minutes are up anyway. But that was it. Oh, I would ask is if there is going to be paving, because I live on First Street, that's great. But Lewis Street, I know you can't pave that, but there are some really bad holes on Lewis Street. I don't know what you can do with that, but whether that can be part of this potential 300,000 being spent on paving.
Okay.
You're talking about the hill section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I missed that pothole that I'm at Bernie's.
I hit it every time.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, darling.
Maybe take a look at it.
And I think what the unfortunate thing is with Lewis Street, it's not like a well-traveled street, so,
It's such a
Hence,
pitch that it's a difficult street to work with too.
and does that hill still have the cement that
Yes.
has the striping
Yep.
in it?
Yep. And that's what's starting to deteriorate, because over time, this will just, Anthony will tell you.
I think you
it's-
kind of have to keep that there because that's a steep hill, but somehow, yeah, something with a little traction there, I guess. All right. Any other comments from the floor? Any executive session items? Okay, so we're good. All right, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, have a great Buchanan day. Stay warm, everyone.